What's up, guys? It is tier list time. I actually haven't made one since Scizor and Scizor got released because I was waiting for buffs on them, because back then they actually belonged into probably the worst tier. Now we can probably make some better adjustments. Also, Clefable will be added to this tier list. So we got some things to go over. First, lane tier list, second, jungle tier list. And as always, these are my own opinions. And yeah, some of them might be a bit weird, but let's just start with Absol. I think Absol is still a pretty decent laner. Goes into A for me if you want to pick a speedster lane. It is probably, out of all the speedsters, probably the best choice out of any laners. Has really strong level 5. If you get to level 5, you can dominate laning phase. Aegislash, still very strong Pokemon. Yeah, there's not much else to say to it. I don't know if I want to explain too many things. It's just, yeah, Aegislash is very, very strong. Blastoise is alright. I want to put it into a... I mean, after the last buffs, honestly, it's not too bad. But I still don't think it's, like, all too much. I want to put it into B+. I think that is quite fair. Blissey. Blissey has fallen down by quite a decent amount, but I do think this Pokemon is still very strong, doesn't matter what, and I think it still deserves an easily A tier. But it has fallen down. Also, Clefable, another support or healer that is currently entering the meta. Buzzwole in laning phase. I mean, this Pokemon shows a lot of potential, and I think it still needs maybe a tiny bit more, but I do think it is very, very strong of a Pokemon now, and can for sure be considered, you know, being played much, much better than it used to be. I'm not sure if it's enough to put him above a bit higher, but it does have a lot of potential. Charizard. I do say you can climb playing Charizard in lane. It's still a bit suboptimal, doesn't matter what. I think B+ is still a fair tier. Like, B+ doesn't mean these Pokemon are bad, right? B+ is still, like, you can play them, but don't expect too much when you pick those. Cinderace goes into straight C tier in laning phase. Cramorant, I think, it still deserves a solid A tier as well. Crustle, B tier. Decidueye, C tier. Very straightforward. Delphox. I actually really dislike Delphox in lane. I feel like every time I see it, it just doesn't really do anything. Of course, it's a very strong Pokemon, and the longer the game goes on, it's also going to be very strong, but it does struggle quite a bit until it's like level 6 or level 7. But honestly, probably not even that bad, so I'm going to put it there. Dualodon in laning phase. I mean, this Pokemon, I think I would rather have it as a jungler, but it can work in lane as well. I think my B+ tier is already going to fill up by quite a lot. Eldegoss, I'm dropping Eldegoss lower and lower. I used to have Eldegoss up here, but yeah, it just doesn't seem to be the thing right now. Just more supports that are just much better than Eldegoss is. Espeon, I think, it still just needs a bit more. This Pokemon is just, I feel like you have to work so hard to get anything done. Doesn't feel worth it to play. Garchomp in lane doesn't really feel too great either on this map. I mean, it's alright, but nothing too crazy. Gardevoir, absolutely horrible. Whenever I have a Gardevoir in lane, Gardevoir is already terrible on this map. And even as a jungler, it's struggling. So if you pick it in lane, I don't know what you're doing, gonna be honest. Gengar is a Pokemon that actually I think can actually work quite well in lane, but just in solo queue, of course. Thanks to, you know, he is always someone that can come back into the match quite easily. But yeah, I don't think deserves a higher tier than B+ as well if I put all of these in B+. Yeah. Glaceon in lane, nothing too amazing either. I don't really like it. B. It's mainly a jungler, I would say. Mainly a jungler, even though Icicle Spear is pretty annoying as well. Redent, still easily A+ tier. Pokemon is very strong. Greninja, C tier. Hooper, sadly actually going into C tier. It currently doesn't really do anything on this map. Lucario is still a solid A tier. Maybe even A+, but I think slowly he's getting pushed back down a tiny bit. Machamp has also, I think, pushed down a tiny bit. I think A is still fair, but I wouldn't put him any higher right now. Mamoswine, solid A tier. This Pokemon just seems pretty decent on this map, doesn't matter what. Mew still belongs in S tier, together with Mime. The M&M still deserves to be at the top spot, and I think nothing comes even close to these two Pokemon as well. Then we have Ninetales, which I think is absolutely awful on this map. I literally rather have a Charizard in lane than a Ninetales. Because Charizard at least does something in mid-game, right? Ninetales might win laning phase, but winning laning phase on this map doesn't really do too much. Charizard can just go farm somewhere else, and eventually will be outscaling Ninetales crazy hard into late game. Pikachu feels pretty bad on this map as well, but I do think Volt-Tackle, I think if you play like a, Volt-Tackle build with just running around, Volt-Tackling stuff, it is still a very frustrating Pokemon to play against. Slowbro, doesn't feel really good on this map either. Gotta say, even after the buffs. Yeah, I'm gonna put into B tier. Snorlax, I think is actually quite good on this map. I'm gonna put into A. Has good laning phase, has good late game, can stop Rayquaza scoring as well with his shield, so always has chance in late game to come back. Azumarill goes into A+ tier. This Pokemon is, I think, is very strong right now and has very insane snowball potential. Dragonite in lane, absolutely horrible. Sylveon is still one of the best attackers that you can play in lane, but even then I'm going to put it also into 8 here. Talonflame. Talonflame is decent on this map. I'm going to put it to B+. I think that is fair for laning phase, even though his laning phase is pretty decent actually. Trevenant, I think, is still an A to me when it comes to this. Serena is a difficult choice. Serena is either S or A+ tier. But I think Mr. Mime and Mew are just so much above the rest. When it comes to this, I'm going to put them into S tier. But Serena is very close of making it into S tier. I think it's for sure the highest A+ Pokemon, at least. Tyranitar in lane, it's better than the rest because it actually scales into late game well. So like this Pokemon, even if you just lose laning phase a bit, you can still win late game very hard with this Pokemon. So I'm going to put it into like a mix. Venusaur, for some reason, just feels awful on this map. You can't even make Petidance work. I really didn't expect it to be this bad, but Petidance is also just, yeah, doesn't seem to be working out well on this map. Wigglytuff, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Wigglytuff, but it works. It's okay, you know? It's like more like a pre-made Pokemon. Wouldn't recommend playing this in solo queue, but in pre-mates, I think it's still a fine frontline Pokemon you can pick. Zeraora, not a fan of. Nothing too crazy. Dodrio, I think Dodrio just in A+ because this Pokemon is ridiculous, I think, and it's just getting stronger and stronger the more people get better at it. So even in laning phase, I pick it and I win games very hard. So I'm going to put it into A+. Scizor. Okay, now we come to the new Pokemon. Scizor. It's difficult. I mean, like I think A is fine for now. This Pokemon does seem very strong, and I think maybe it's going to go even higher a bit. But for now, I think A+ is fair, you know, compared to Lucario and Machamp, who are also very strong. I think it's somewhere in A tier. I think that's about right. And Scyther in 8. Scyther I don't like in laning phase at all. I do think this Pokemon needs to be played in jungle, and its laning phase is not that great. But yeah, I think a B+ is fine, maybe. But yeah, nothing too crazy when it comes to laning phase. Does have an early level 5 power spike, and level 5 it is quite decent as well. So I think B+ is fair for it. And we're going to see how this evolves, you know, to future patches. And then for the last one, we have Clefable, which I think is this Pokemon seems very decent. I'm going to put it into A+ tier. But it's not a solo queue Pokemon, it's a pre-made Pokemon. I think Gravity is ridiculous of an ability. Moonlight heals a crazy amount as well. I think the only weak point about this Pokemon is the Unite move. Besides that, I don't know, maybe I'm rating it too high for now. But I do think this Pokemon is very, very strong in pre-mates and very hard to deal with. It's very good for peeling, as long as you put Gravity on your carry in the team fights. No one can reach it, right? It's very, very difficult. Because almost every Pokemon that is like in the meta right now as well has some sort of dash that has to get in and out to the Pokemon, and you can't dash into it. If you can see the list right here, Serena has multiple dashes. Aegislash can't boosted auto attack, can't dash in. We have Greedent who can't, I mean, Greedent can't Unite move in it, but he can walk into it. Azumarill can't roll or Unite move. Dodrio can't boosted auto attack. So yeah, all these Pokemon are kinda, you know, they can't do anything about this Pokemon. So this is for the laning tier list. I think it looks quite fine. I don't think I'm going to make any changes. There's maybe some questionable things like Charizard could maybe be higher, or I don't know. But maybe Glaceon in B tier is a bit too harsh as well when it comes to laning phase. But I don't really like this Pokemon in laning phase all too much. Yeah, I think there's just much better options you can pick. Besides that, I think it's alright. Again, let me know in the comments what you disagree with and what you agree with. I'm always curious to see opinions. And again, this is my opinion. Don't get too mad if I put your main character that you guys have a 70% win rated, you know, much, much lower than you think it should be. It's just something, you know, what I think currently the meta is looking like. And yeah, that's it. And now we go into the jungle tier list, where Clefable is probably not going to have an impact on, because I don't think Clefable should be played in jungle. I was going to keep it down here. So let's start with Absol. Absol for me is jungling is an A+. Then we have Aegislash, also A+. My own problem is that my A+ tier always fills up quite fast on jungle tier lists. We have Blastoise. I think it can jungle, but nothing too crazy. Then we have a Buzzwole, which I think, you know, honestly, I think this Pokemon, yeah, it's decent. I think there's just better options. But again, Smackdown is pretty good right now. The lunch, like every move he has, somehow works together. So he has multiple different builds that you can adjust also to your opponents. So it seems for sure viable. Charizard for me is honestly still S tier on this patch. I think it has a lot of impact, but maybe somewhere between S and A+, that's for sure. Then we have Cinderace, which I really don't like on the current patch. This Pokemon doesn't really fit the map too well. and I think it's struggles, but you can obviously still play it. You know, jungling is a role where you can almost play any Pokemon and shine on, so this doesn't mean that your favorite Pokemon suddenly is like terrible or anything. Cramorant. Cramorant is also probably still somewhere here. I'm going to put him into 8 here. Still a very strong Pokemon as well, you can easily play. The Decidueye goes into B+. Does struggle a bit on this map as well, but I think it's playable as well, or can be played. Delphox, Flame Charge Delphox. I'm going to put into 8 here. Duraludon into A+. This Pokemon just is always there in the hidden in the shadows. I personally don't like playing it because it's boring, but it does work as well. Espeon, nothing too amazing. I'm going to put into B tier. Garchomp. I mean, I like Garchomp in jungle, but I don't think it deserves higher than a B+ currently. Gardevoir. I mean, maybe Gardevoir deserves C tier. I just don't think this Pokemon wants to be played on this map at all. But then Espeon. I mean, I think Espeon. I don't know, it's difficult. Does Espeon have more impact? Maybe I should make a C tier. Maybe B tier is good enough. But yeah, let's just put it into B tier. Gengar to me is still an S tier Pokemon. Maybe I'm overrating it a tiny bit. Glaceon, Icy Wind, I think is also still S tier. Then we have Greninja, for me A tier. We have Machamp, can be played in jungle. Can be an A tier Pokemon easily as well. We have Mr. Mime in theory can be played in jungle, I just wouldn't do it. But in theory it can jungle. But let's just be serious. Kind of be serious about this. Azumarill can also jungle decently well. I'm gonna put into A tier. Then we have Dragonite, falling down a tiny bit, but I think A is still pretty decent, doesn't matter what. Deserves to be there. Venusaur. Venusaur used to be a jungler, but it feels so bad on this patch. I don't know. I put Venusaur to C tier for all the Pokemon. Talonflame, also A tier, A tier. Like all these Pokemon can be played, and you probably can perform quite well on them. That's what I always say. Serena to me is an A+ jungler, just because you get level 6 so early, you can just take over games. Dodrio, S tier. This Pokemon is insane, I swear, it deserves to be S tier. It is overpowered when it comes to jungling, and you're going to see a lot of more Dodrio in the future. So be ready, guys. Dodrio is going to take over, 100%. Zaora, I just don't like this Pokemon, and I don't think it's nothing too crazy either. B+ tier. Scyther, I think, deserves also an A tier right now. I don't think I can put it higher than these Pokemon necessarily. Maybe Absol should be an A tier, honestly. Actually, I'm going to put... should Absol be A tier, A+ tier? I think so. I think so. I think it just... does it deserve it? Maybe not. But I'll also put it into A tier. And Aegislash. Does Aegislash deserve A+ tier? Maybe a tiny bit. Maybe he does deserve it. Does he though? Jungling is always a bit hard to rank. Maybe I should go down with a few things. I don't think I like... I'm actually going to do this right here. I'm going to do this. I think this looks better. I'm going to leave Dodrio and Charizard up there. Honestly, never mind. I'm going to leave... Guys, I've decided. I'm going to leave Dodrio in S tier. Icy Wind Glaceon is also still very strong, though. Let's just keep it. Okay, let's keep it like this. I can't decide, man. It's difficult, alright? It is very difficult. You can already see my A tier is filling up like crazy. We have Scizor, which I'm not a big fan of in jungle. Honestly, I don't think this Pokemon does too good in jungle. I think it's better in lane. You always want to face your opponents, and going back to jungle doesn't feel too great a lot of times, but still can be played. And then we have Tyranitar, who also deserves a S or A+ tier. So I'm going to put it right there. Sylveon can be played in jungle, but nothing too crazy as well. I'm going to put it into B+ tier. And I think that's it for jungling. I mean, Lucario in theory can jungle, but it's a way. I mean, it's not really a waste, but I wouldn't put Lucario into jungle necessarily too much. So it doesn't really make too much sense. Mew can actually jungle, right? Mew is actually a decent jungler as well. And we know that Toonslim does play a lot in jungle, and it doesn't matter where you put Mew. This Pokemon is overpowered. So as long as you pick Mew, you're gonna have a great time, even in jungle. It is performing quite well. That's it for this tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Clefable, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Just gonna put it, yeah, let's put it into C tier right here, just so it's on the board. Since, you know, it's a Clefable tier list. Wouldn't recommend jungling with this Pokemon. Really don't. Unless, I mean, yeah. Unless you want to have fun with your friends or something. Besides that, I wouldn't recommend it. So that's it for the jungle tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, comment in write down in the comments what you agree with, what you disagree with, and how you would rate this tier list. See you guys in the next video. Bye.